Hey everybody, my name is Cody. I'm the ambassador athlete for New Moon Ski and Bike here in Hayward, Wisconsin. New Moon just started carrying some magnetic pedals, and they gave me a chance to demo these and asked if I could do a review on them. I'm under no obligation to say that I love the pedals or that they're amazing. This is just going to be my experience with these, totally unbiased. So these are the pedals. They are Hustle REMtech magnetic pedals. Very similar to flat pedals. So you've got a cage with pins all the way around. The difference being that obviously these have magnets in the middle. So 4 magnets per pedal, 2 on each side. Cool thing about these is the magnet platform rocks. Other magnet pedals like MagPed, the magnet is solid on the cage of the pedal, so it doesn't have the ability to kind of rock with your foot. So I think that's a really nice feature of these. So when you buy these, they come with a little kit. So you've got a bunch of extra pins. It comes with a little wrench for taking the pins on and off. And then it comes with these spacers. So it comes with 4 spacers and it comes with the plate. So I had to purchase a pair of clipless shoes because I have always just run flat pedals. I just had flat pedal specific shoes. So, here's the shoe with the plate that comes with the pedals. So instead of a cleat, obviously you just got a big metal plate that connects to those magnets. You do have to run a shoe like this, so an enduro or downhill specific clipless shoe. The reason being is you need this soft rubber around here to be able to grip onto the pins as well as the magnet. That's where you're going to get that really good lock-on feel. You can see here on the side especially where those pins have been gripping into this rubber. It's already marred it up a little bit. So these plates need to be 1 millimeter inside the shoe. I actually took a caliper and made sure that I got these perfectly at 1 millimeter, so I was able to use the shim that came with these shoes and then one of the shims that came with the pedal, and that gave me exactly 1 millimeter of detent here. You wouldn't want to run like the hard bottom, the hard plastic bottom, like cross-country shoes with these, because all you're going to have is that magnet. So it's just going to be like metal to metal, soft, not soft, but flat surfaces. So it'd be pretty easy to slide forward, backward, or side to side. You need to have that rubber to grip on there. So my experience with these pedals, so initially there was a huge learning curve. So I've never run clipless before. So this was my first time, installing a plate onto a clipless shoe. I kind of ride with the ball of my foot behind the axle a little bit. Whereas especially like road riders or something like that, you probably run your cleat pretty far towards the toe for pedal efficiency. So I kind of have my plate pulled all the way back and in. I found that to be kind of the sweet spot for me. Still was actually a little bit further forward on the pedals than I'm used to, so that took a little bit of getting used to. Actually, the muscles in my legs needed some time to get used to that as well. I definitely felt it the next day. So right off the bat, I took them up to Mount Telemark in Cable, where we've got some downhill gravity trails. They've got everything from Black Diamond technical trails to big flowy jump trails, green flowy beginner trails. Hit some green trails to start out just to get a good feel. And right off the bat, I could really tell a difference in just like the confidence of my feet being attached to the bike. Like I could relax my feet. I could relax my legs a little bit. I didn't have to keep that constant pressure to keep my feet from coming off my pedals, which was really nice. Much more efficient climbing, so that pedaling, I actually tried to break my feet loose by just, instead of pushing at all, I just pulled. pedal while I was climbing up the hill, and my feet stayed on and I was able to continue going up the hill. So plenty of pull force with these pedals to keep you locked in. Definitely noticed a huge improvement in like just aggressive cornering. So that's actually my favorite thing about these pedals, I think, is honestly just aggressive cornering. I don't know if that's because I don't have to keep a constant pressure, or if I'm able to kind of pull or something, but yeah, just hitting like flat corners, berms and everything, I can just hit them with more speed, and I just have this confidence that I can like shove the rear end around tighter. Just feels a lot better, I think. Hit some tech, so we hit some nasty rock gardens. I even went up to Spirit Mountain with these pedals, rode some trails like Anvil to see how they would do, and same thing, so much nicer to not have to keep that constant pressure down on the pedals. You know, I could kind of be a little more relaxed and a little more bouncy in a sense to go through the chunder without fear of my feet lifting up and then having my foot come down in a weird position or slipping a pedal. I never really had problems with slipping pedals with flat pedals, but I've definitely had the bounce and the, you know, cockeyed foot for the rest of the run, which is just really uncomfortable and not fun. Jumping was really good as well, so there was just more confidence because I knew my feet weren't going to accidentally lift off the pedals. You know, obviously good jumping technique with flat pedals, your feet aren't going to come off the pedals. But every now and then, you know, you have an off jump and it happens. So it's nice to not have to have that in the back of your head when you're hitting a jump trail. Also slow speed maneuvers. So like going on steep, slow sections where there's like lots of roots, rocks, trees you're kind of trying to avoid. It's super easy to kind of lift the rear end of the bike and scoot it around if you need to. You can do that with flat pedals as well, but you have to scoop, you have to keep that pressure. So this just makes it a lot easier. Once again, I never had my feet come off these pedals when doing maneuvers like that. Some cons I would say to these pedals, obviously they're heavier. You know, if you care about efficiency, if you're, you know, planning on doing long trail rides and racing, cross country or something like that, these might be a little heavy for you than like these flat pedals. So these are race face turbines that I had on my bike before I put these on. So this is 394 grams, so almost 400 grams. These are only 210 grams. So there's a 184 gram difference. I'm not super concerned about that. I prefer enduro and downhill riding, so this is my bike. It's a 2022 Specialized Enduro. That's what I ran these pedals on. It's already a pretty heavy bike, so to me, I didn't really notice anything. Initial foot placement. So I was really excited to try these pedals for this one fact where I was hoping that when I put my feet on my pedals to start a run, it would just be like, boom, locked in place exactly where you want it every time. And that is not at all the case. That was something I didn't like about flats, was sometimes I would start a run on a downhill trail and like my foot would end up too far forward, too far back, too far off to the left, or, you know, angled a little bit, and then you've got to, you know, lift your foot up to get it placed where you want it. Sometimes it takes a couple tries. These do not solve that problem at all. And in fact, I would say they make that problem worse, because you can put your foot on these pedals and have them be off to the right too much, or off to the inside too much, or back or forward too much, because they have a sweet spot. So, you know, you can see like the plate's about the same size as this magnet platform. So, you know, your sweet spot is gonna be like, see, that's not even the sweet spot there. But anyway, you wanna be lined up exactly with this to get the best traction on the pedal. So kind of like right in here is where you'd want your shoe to be, right? So you can, like right here, you know, the shoe is locked on, right? You can put your foot way off that and it's still got some magnetic hold, and now the pins are digging in. So if you started your run like this, well, you've got to break that magnetic pull, lift your foot up and put it back where you want it. So what I've been kind of doing now is before I drop into a trail, I just take the extra time to get my feet placed exactly in that sweet spot. That's the biggest con in my eyes. Like when you're doing like a downhill race and like you have to basically go from here and drop into the trail, if you're not really good at track stands, it can take a little bit to kind of get your feet where you want them, or you start the run and your foot's not exactly where you want it and you got to mess around to try and get it on there. I think that's something that'll come with time as well and just muscle memory. I haven't had, you know, a long time with these pedals, so it probably will get better, but that's my only gripe with these is that initial start. But if you can get your feet where you want them, get them on that sweet spot, then drop into your trail, your feet are locked in and it's awesome. Feels great. I guess another con would just be initial cost. So, you know, the pedals are, I want to say they retail for like 200 something. I'll put a link in the video to New Moon's website with these pedals. But if you have the hard bottom cross-country shoes and you want to switch to these pedals, or if you just ride flats and you want to switch to these pedals, you're going to have to buy the pedal and you're going to have to buy the enduro downhill style clipless shoes. So depending on what shoe you buy, you know, you can get some really high-end shoes that are quite expensive, or you can get some more entry-level shoes that aren't too expensive, but you know, you're still looking at probably an extra $100 or so. I went with these 510 Hellcats. I've been really happy with them. I run 510 free riders on my flat pedals. Great brand. I think that these pedals I think they're ideal for people who ride flats, want some of the benefits of clipless pedals without the risk that comes with being on clipless pedals. I think that if you're a super serious racer or something, you're better off learning clipless and going full clipless. If you're coming from flat pedals, it's not that big of a learning curve because you are used to having float. They feel just like flat pedals. You could ride these with a flat shoe if you wanted to, which is another benefit. You know, like if you change at the trailhead and you've got sandals on, you can still pedal these home. You know, you don't have to have a cleat to run these pedals. That's another nice feature. Yeah, so if you're someone who's riding flats and you want to try these out, I highly recommend it. I gave back the demo pair and I purchased this black set for myself because I like them and I have seen the benefits of them. So that's probably what I'm going to run on my bike for quite a while. So if you're interested in these pedals, head over to New Moon. You can hit up their website or see them in person. They'd be glad to show them to you in the shop and talk about them. Or you can shoot me a message and I will definitely get back to you. And if you have any questions, let me know. So yeah, I hope you liked this review. Like and subscribe if you did, and we'll see you out on the trails.